Good afternoon and welcome to one more webinar from Telerik India. This is typically a webinars that we do for India and the APAC region almost every Thursday of the month and 12 months in a year. So today we're going to be looking at native touches to your hybrid apps. If you want to know more about the schedule, you can always go to www.telerikhelper.net. So that's a website that we normally keep putting these webinar videos, the slide decks from the webinar, and also the schedule. So currently we have put up schedule till April. We'll come back with the May-June schedule in a week's time. So that's the site to be bookmarked, and today we're going to be looking at native touches to your hybrid apps, and thanks to everybody who has made it to this webinar. So let's get started. If you are new to this webinar, well, that's me, that's how I look, and my name is Lohit GN. I am a technical evangelist at Telerik in India. I'm also Microsoft MVP in the area of ASP.NET IIS. That's my official ID, lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com. You can just reach out to me if you need any information regarding Telerik, our tools, all those things. I'm also available on Twitter. If you want to tweet to me, that's my personal website, kashipas.com, and then telerikhelper.net. That's where we keep writing most of the Telerik things. www.telerik.com is our global website where you can get more info on the company, on the tools that we have, on the controls that we sell, all those things. So I would say just bookmark this. Now coming back to today's agenda, it's pretty simple. I just want to keep it very light because this is kind of confusing topic. If you say we are talking about hybrid at one end and then we are talking about native at another end, so how are we making sure that these two are getting married together, right? So I want to keep it very simple. So 3-point agenda, hybrid apps. I'll just give a quick introduction for those of you who haven't heard of hybrid apps, or so this is not going to be a deep dive, but rather very high level introduction as to what is hybrid app, and then we'll take a lap around Kendo UI mobile. So that's our control set for hybrid application development, hybrid mobile application development. So we're going to take a quick lap around Kendo UI mobile. And then we're going to talk about the Cordova plugins for native features. What plugins are available, what native feature do these Cordova plugins provide, all those things. And of course, nothing is done without demos, so we're going to be doing a demo. I've done an exclusive setup today. I have a Windows phone which I'll project. I have a Android phone which I've made sure that on my Windows PC I'm trying to now project a Android phone. So I figured out a software which does that. So what we'll do is we'll pretty much from my Windows PC build an Android APK, push it to the Android phone, build a Windows phone zap file or the package, and then push it to the Windows phone, and then we'll try to see how these native features, or the Cordova plugin for native features work in these hybrid apps. I hope you are excited as I am, because this is a very interesting topic. So let's get started. So I was actually, before I wanted to put up something for this slide deck, I searched a lot about hybrid. I wanted to put up something which kind of brings out this message of, what exactly is a hybrid, right? The best thing that I figured out was a Swiss knife. Just imagine yourself that you have a knife, let's say a bread cutting knife or a fruit cutting knife, or the typical simple knife that you use for cutting any vegetables. So that can be used only for one thing. And similarly, if you're building a native app, it can work only on one platform, right? Of course, that's how the trick of the trade is. You build a Windows phone, it can run on only Windows Phone OS. If you build an Android application, it can run on only an Android platform. If you build an iPhone app, it can run on only iOS platform. But what is a hybrid app? So if you see the Swiss knife, that's the analogy I'm trying to make here. So single knife can cut only single thing. You cannot take a bread knife and then cut a fruit maybe. You cannot take a fruit cutting knife and then cut a bread maybe. So it doesn't work out that much easily. So Swiss knife is like, it has everything. It is kind of a hybrid. It has the knife, it has the clippers there, it has the screwdriver there, everything. So that's the concept of hybrid. Like, if you go with a knife, it's like the native app. But if you go with a Swiss knife, it's like a hybrid. You are a hybrid guy, and you can pretty much do everything, right? So the hybrid, the beauty of hybrid is you write once your source code in HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and then I can actually package them to run on Windows Phone or run on Android phone or run on the iPhone. So that's how pretty the hybrid scenario is all about. So from a definition perspective, hybrid apps are nothing but heterogeneous sources. I say heterogeneous because, at one end we are talking about HTML, and then we are talking about JavaScript, and then we are talking about style sheets, CSS. So that's why it's not a homogeneous technologies, rather it's a heterogeneous technologies, right? And typically, if you take a peek at the native application development, you typically stay with a single source or single language. For example, I'm a Windows Phone developer actually, so I keep a Windows Phone app developer. So I keep developing a lot of Windows Phone apps. So I just use C# to create my Windows Phone apps, right? I don't do anything else other than C# and XAML. So here we're talking about HTML, which is like a front end, JavaScript, which is like the logics, CSS, which is like a UI UX thing. So that's why if you see there, the second bullet point says it's written with technologies used for websites and mobile web implementation, and it hosted and runs in a native container on the device. So basically, since it's an HTML, you need some browsers rendering engine to actually understand the HTML and then bring out or render that particular UI. So that's why the hybrid apps are usually run in a container. And I like to call this as marriage of web technology plus native execution. So you're developing using the web technology, but it runs inside a native container. So that's what from a definition perspective. But if you ask me, how does this happen? Well, there is something called web view control. I think in iOS, they call it as UI web view, and in Android and others, it's known as a web view. And what this does is, this web view is actually the rendering engine, the native browser rendering engine. It's not the browser itself. So that is what typically many people get confused. We are not bringing in the browser, but rather we are making use of the browser's rendering engine. So every browser has its own rendering engine. So with this, what happens is you get a full screen format. You're not going to see the header, so the status bar or the menu bar or the file address bar, anything. You are not going to see any of those things, because this is not a browser, it's a rendering engine. And what we normally do is you get an abstracted layer, and the device capabilities are provided as a JavaScript API, usually by the Apache Cordova. Formerly it was known as PhoneGap, but now it's known as Cordova API. And the native wrappers are compiled around HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you get an interop layer. So typically the interop layer connects to the JavaScript API with the native API. So you can think of this as you have your own JavaScript. Let's say you write an app.js, so that's like an application.js, and this app.js is going to talk to the Cordova interop JavaScript API, which is nothing but another JavaScript file, which is a Cordova.js. And the Cordova JavaScript file knows how to invoke all the native capabilities. So if you need a camera access from your JavaScript file, you will just say Cordova JavaScript API get me camera, and then the Cordova JavaScript API knows how to go and then invoke the camera, and then give you back the data from the camera itself. So that's how you typically do your hybrid. That's how typically the hybrid works. So now the next question may be, when should I go hybrid, right? The first and foremost thing is you want to target multiple mobile platform. And then you also want to make use of the device capabilities like geolocation, the camera, all those things. You also need an offline usage. And the biggest thing that I keep telling everybody is there's no need of advanced graphic performance. It's a no-brainer that the HTML cannot go beyond, it cannot provide you all the graphical things that you need. In fact, all the animations, all the transitions are done using CSS3 transitions or CSS3 animations. So it's like a software rendering. So that's why it's going to take a little bit of, it cannot support much of the hardware things that you are looking for. If you are looking for if your app is a very high graphical thing, I would say just go for, the native implementation. Whereas I don't care, there's nothing of a graphics, rather I need to quickly build a field application for my field personals. For example, they are on the field, they want to quickly list down all the customer, click on a customer, and they want to update a particular property of the customer and then update it back to the server, so save it on my server. So I can quickly build a hybrid mobile application which can then be put up on Google Marketplace or Google Store or iPhone or the iTunes or the Windows Marketplace, because that's what hybrid is all about. You build once using HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, but you package it differently, and then the same code runs on all the platforms. That's the beauty of hybrid. So you don't want any high graphics. You can always go with this one. So this should be the kind of a checklist when it comes to which way should I go, native or mobile, or native or hybrid or mobile web implementation. So this is what you need to keep in mind. So sometime back in 2012 or 13, our think tank in Telerik, all our strategy guys and then the CTOs, they all sat together, and then they kind of put up this particular two-axis graph. I like this very much because it clearly defines what you should be looking for in terms of decision, right? So first thing is platform affinity, meaning if I write a mobile app, how many platforms can it run on, right? So that's what the affinity means. And then of course access to device capabilities. So let's first take a native application. If I create a native application, it has 0 platform affinity, meaning if I create an iPhone app, it can run only on iOS. It can never run on Android platform, or it can never run on Windows platform. So the affinity is 0. But since it's a native app, and of course it's the same with if I create a native Android application, it can run only on Android OS. It cannot run on Windows Phone, or it cannot run on iPhone. Similarly with Windows Phone applications. But all these native apps have high access to device capability. So since it's native, it's closer to the metal. It will be able to go grab whatever access it needs through the native through the API itself. Now let's come back to mobile web app. So basically a mobile web app is nothing but a web application which is hosted on an IaaS, or hosted on a web server, but the pages are all styled to look good on a very specific browser, and that browser is mobile web browser. So what happens with a mobile web browser is your real estate, or the area that is available to display your UI, is very small. You're talking about 3-inch screens, 4-inch screens, 5.7-inch screen, like that, a very small screen that you have. So what you would do is you'll create a web page which is styled to look good on a mobile web. So that is mobile web applications. But what is the problem with mobile web application? Well, it has a lot of it has a high platform affinity, no doubt. Why? Because since it's a web page, any platform, that is any mobile operating system, has a browser inbuilt. For example, Windows Phone has IE, Android has Android browser, iPhone has Safari. So you can always go to these browsers and then navigate to your mobile web application, and then it's going to come up on that particular browser, or it is going to come up on that particular device or OS. Not a problem. So its platform affinity is very high, but it cannot access any of the device capabilities. So if you see there, the device capability is 0 because it's running inside the browser. It is a sandbox, and then it cannot go out of this sandbox and then access device capabilities. Now this is where hybrid apps becomes very interesting. If you see there, hybrid apps is placed saying like it has a very high platform affinity, and then it has a very high access to device capability, right? So why is that? That is because the way you write your hybrid apps is using HTML, JavaScript, and then CSS, and every operating system or the platform has this rendering engine. So you make use of that rendering engine by placing your code to run inside that container, and you can always create a package for all the platform. With the use of Cordova JavaScript API, the Cordova makes it easy for you to access all the device capabilities. So that's where that is what you should actually keep in mind as to if you want to decide on these 3 options. This is like a quick check as to what do we need, and then based on that you can actually decide you want to go native, you want to go hybrid, you want to go mobile web app. So that's about hybrid mobile applications. I hope I gave you a quick tour or quick understanding on what exactly is this hybrid mobile application. Next up, what we will be seeing is the control set that I'm going to be using today. We here at Telerik, we have this HTML5 control set called Kendo UI. This is one package that you need to create web applications, mobile application, and then data visualization application, because we have web widgets or controls, we have data visualization widgets or controls, and then we have complete hybrid mobile application framework with controls. So that's what we have. And that's what, let's talk mobile. Use your web skills to make mobile apps. So that is what the whole mantra we follow here at Telerik is that, if you have a web skill, you can actually become a mobile app developer by building hybrid mobile apps. So what is Kendo UI Mobile? It's actually a package, or it's actually a framework which allows you to build hybrid mobile web app or a mobile web app. So if you want to build a mobile web app, you can still use Kendo UI Mobile controls. It's completely open source and free. You can use any of your, if you want to use NuGet, or if you want to use Bower, you can pretty much go and then install the Kendo UI core from any manner. And we also have Angular directives if you're Angular guys out of the box. So all our controls can be used with Angular as a base framework, and then you can pretty much instantiate Kendo UI controls using like a Angular directive. And it's totally cross-platform, runs on Android, runs on Apple, runs on Windows, so Windows Phone. So that's what Kendo UI Mobile is all about. Now, in order to create hybrid mobile apps, it's usually best, or Kendo UI Mobile is powered, or it's usually best with the IDE known as App Builder. Telerik App Builder is part of our Telerik mobile platform, and then it's an IDE for our, I hope everybody understands what an IDE is all about. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, meaning you create your code, or you develop your code, you debug your code, you run your code, and then you package your application all within one single IDE, one environment. So that's Telerik App Builder. It's not free. It is actually a licensed product. It's part of our Telerik mobile platform, but it's available as a 30-day free trial. You can go to platform.telerik.com, and then you can sign up, you get a 30 days trial, and then you can actually make use of App Builder. With App Builder, it already automatically bundles Kendo UI Mobile for you, so you don't have to go download or use Bower or anything. So you just take subscription of Telerik App Builder and go say file new project, and then you will have the Kendo UI Mobile controls automatically added to your project. So that's how cool and easy is that. And then also you can use Cordova plugins within this IDE, and it makes it super easy. I'm going to show you everything, what I do. Using the plugin is so easy that you just right click and say, hey, add a plugin, and then it automatically adds the plugin into your project. So that's how easy it is with our Telerik App Builder. Now let's remember I talked about widgets or controls. So what are this, right? This is actually a complete application tool set to build your hybrid and mobile web application. So starting from action sheet to button group to dryers, forms, list view, mobile button, modal view, navbar, popover, scroller, scroll view, split view, switch, tab strip. Basically these are more than enough for you to build a mobile application. Typically the kind of a popular controls are list view, because each application may have a listing to show. So we have that list view, which is pretty cool. And we also have this action sheet. We also have this modal view and navbars to create navbar. And then one interesting thing is the tab strip. Basically if in Android or iOS you have these tabs on your application. So that's what this does. So that's about the control set. And what we give as part of Kendo UI Mobile is flexibility for developers in terms of offline capabilities. So Kendo UI has a object is known as Kendo UI data source, and the Kendo UI data source has this capability to actually store data locally in a local storage. And when the network is available, or when the connectivity is available, he will be able to sync any CRUD operation that you would have done on the data source. And also we provide a lot of flat themes. One of our evangelists, what he has done is he has created an application which gives you all the color combinations of material design. So as out of the box, Kendo UI comes with one flat theme which looks same color, same icons everywhere across the platform, irrespective of the particular platform's UI UX. The USP of Kendo UI Mobile is its adaptive rendering, meaning if you take a particular Kendo UI control and you package it for Android, it's going to look like Android's UI, the color combination, the color schemes, everything. Same code, when I package it for iOS, it will look like the iOS color combination, color themes, the blue shades and all those things. So that's why it's a operating system adaptive rendering control set. You as a developer need not do anything except just use the control, and then we will do the rest of the things. And of course it plays well with others, I talked about Angular, all those things. So we do have something for everyone, right? So what I talked about is a Kendo UI Core, which is a free version of Kendo UI Mobile. We also have something called as Kendo UI Professional, which is actually an enterprise UI and license per developer, and then support and maintenance. So basically the Kendo UI Core, what we give you is just the app framework, the web, the mobile controls, that's it. But with the Kendo UI Professional, you get web, data visualization, mobile, and then support, and then maintenance, all those things. Of course, it's a kind of an enterprise product. So quickly, let me run through a demo of Kendo UI. Let me bring up my So if you go to demos.telric.com/KendoUI, and this is the site where we have put all our demos online, and you can see a section which says mobile here. So let me take this case of tab strip. That's interesting. I want to showcase this tab strip, and then you will understand what exactly is adaptive rendering all about. So if you notice here in the bottom, let me get my zoom it. So if you notice here in the bottom, this is known as the tab strip, right? So I'm currently running a flat theme, so irrespective of any OS, it will come down. So now I've switched to iOS 7. Notice what happened. The complete UI has changed to look like an iOS 7 UI. So and notice that the tab strip is usually at the bottom. Now let me go and change that to Android Lite, and take a look at what happened. So this is basically moved up. But from a code perspective, you did not have to change anything except, let me show you the usage. So we are all completely HTML5. As you can see here, you just have to say data-role tab strip, and then add the anchor elements, and that's it. This becomes a tab strip. And then if you see here, I'm doing an href hash a particular name. So the way Kendo works is, it's basically a single page application. So different views are having different IDs, and then I'm just saying, hey, navigate to that particular section whose ID is this. So it will automatically bring that particular view into the forefront. So if you see here, I can click on this. So if you see here, the pages are changing, like that. And then similarly, we have this material dark, material light. So if you see here, this is how material design will look like. Take a look at the bottom. Okay, let me do a live zoom. So this is the material theme tab strip. So we give you all this, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 themes out of the box. But one of our evangelists, he has done a very fantastic job. It's known as Kendo flat themes. So what this does is, it has so the material theme that we had was only 2, light and dark, but he has gone ahead and then actually given a lot of themes here. If you see here, I have professional, and take a look at what happens to this particular, so the buttons, all the scroll views. So I can open a modal view and then close it, loader. So take a look at this loader here. Now I can change this particular theme, and then I can say, hey, I want to see how this looks like with a material red. So this is material red. I don't like this. I like this material indigo. So that's what I'll be using. I've already downloaded this material indigo, and take a look at how this looks. So this is material indigo. Here, this is how the buttons will look. Button group is like this, and the switch, the loader. And then you also have this modal dialog that comes up. So what I've done is I've already downloaded this. Now I'm going to use our Telerik app builder. So I have already taken the license from or subscription from our platform. So as you can see here, it says welcome Lohit GN. So it knows that I've already logged into my Telerik platform, and I already created a couple of workspaces. So workspace is nothing but our application space is nothing but just to keep everything in one place. So now here, if you see here, when I come into my app builder IDE, it actually has three things that you can do. We have a hybrid application that can be developed. We can develop a native application also. So that native is based on a particular technology called native script that we have come up with in Telerik. That means using JavaScript, you can create native Android and native iOS. In fact, that's what the demo that's what the webinar I'm going to be doing next week. And these are all the different, the project templates that we have. It's as easy as opening your Eclipse or opening your Visual Studio and saying File, New, Project. So I'm going to select Kendo UI Drawer for now, and I will say Telerik webinar demo, or let's say native touch hybrid app, right? That's what the webinar is. So we'll say native touch hybrid app, and I'm going to say create. So I've given Kendo UI Drawer. I'm going to say create. So let's give it some time. It's going to create. So now what you're seeing is, it's almost completed, and then here is my solution explorer. So this is the solution, this is the project, and these are all the project assets. So I have index.html and Cordova JavaScript file, the styles, the scripts, and here is Kendo. So the app builder automatically puts up Kendo into your project. Not only that, if I right click on my project and on the project and then say properties, you can actually set all the properties that you need for your Android, iOS, and then Windows Phone. For example, in Android, the application, I think you need to provide like com.companyname.app name as the the namespace for your application, and then you can actually set the version number, the author. So I can just say this is Lohit GN. Display name, how I want it to be. Description, this is a demo app, demo hybrid mobile app showcasing native capability integration. So this basically you need this for it as a limit. This is a demo hybrid mobile app with nativeness. I'll just put it like that. And you can actually set the supported orientation. If there's any iOS specific properties, you can set that. If there's any Android specific permissions that you want to provide, revoke, you can do that. And then you can actually go to Windows Phone also and then set up all those things. So if you see here publisher name, you will have to put your publisher name if you want to push it to your marketplace, because the Zap is going to be developed using or will be have a metadata with this publisher name. And I can give the tile title in order to get the tile, publisher name, package identities like this, all those things. So basically you can do that. And also plugins. We'll come back to this plugins when we do the section where we talk about plugins. So now, having seen this particular thing, I don't want to save it. So now let me show you the Kendo UI thing. So it puts the Kendo UI mobile.min.js, that's the JavaScript file that you need. It puts a kendo mobile.all.min.cs. Remember, I selected a template called a dryer, right? So we'll see what happens. What is this providing? So let me just quickly say run, and notice what we provide in this IDE. We give you build from here directly. We give you build and deploy. That means if there is any device connected to your app builder, or your machine, the app builder can detect that and then build and deploy directly onto the device. So in fact, I'm now connected to my, hang on, so I have my phone connected, it's not detected, so let me get the phone detection done. And there you go. So if you see here, my wires, my USB cable was having a problem connecting. So if you see here, I have a Huawei U9200, a very old phone, but it's running Android 4.0.3, and my app builder has been able to detect that particular Android phone, and notice it is able to actually give us the property. So it says Huawei, and model is this, name is this, version running is 4.0.3. And then what I can do is I can actually directly deploy my app onto that. So let's do that. First, let's see how this looks in simulator. And of course, when we are doing a, the native plugins, we cannot run on the simulator. So let me get my simulator here. So there we go. Let me dock it like this so that you're able to see this. So with this dryer application, what it has done is it has given us a simple dryer here on the left hand side, and then I click on it, it goes to settings, it goes to home. Now remember, I talked about the style sheet called Indigo. This doesn't look good, so what we'll do is we'll bring in that style sheet called Indigo. So I will say add existing files and workspace kendo, and then I have my Indigo. So I'll rename this file to just Indigo, and I'll go to index.html, and right below kendo I will say indigo.css. There you go. So if you see my right hand side, the application is completely changed. My style sheet have changed, and I can pretty much go in here. I can go to contacts. If I click on any contacts, if you see here, the color changes. This looks good than the thing. Not only that, I can actually go in and say, how does it look like in Android? Remember, I talked about a flat theme. So if we go back to our project, there is one specific script called app.js. So this kicks off a lot of things. And here, if you see, we have this key called skin, and then if you set it to flat, it doesn't matter whether you are in iPhone or Android phone or Windows phone, it's going to look like the same. Notice I have changed to iPhone, the UI is same. I changed to Android phone, the UI is same. I changed Windows phone, the UI looks the same, right? So what I can do is, in order to show this adaptive rendering feature of Kendo UI, I can just comment out the skin flat. Now you will see a completely different UI. Notice what happened to the dryer. It became a bluish thing, and in iPhone the dryer button will be on the top, and then if I go and then say Android, notice what happened in Android. The dryer button goes down because that's how Android does it. It puts at the bottom if you have a dryer. So the dryer keeps coming, but now notice everything is black. That's because I'm doing a Android black theme here, and I am on 4.0 in my current whatever Android phone I have, and I can go to Windows phone, and then I can see that the dryer button is coming up here, right? So let's go back to this. Let me get back the flat theme, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything that is here, and let me first do this. So we will put this onto my phone. So let me bring up my, so here is a software that I've used. It's known as MobiZen, And what this Mobizen does is it will project whatever you're seeing on my phone. This is actually my Android phone that you're seeing now. So there you go. So I'm actually controlling this from my Android phone and I'm projecting it onto the GoToMeeting. And what I will do is I'll go back to App Builder, or maybe let's see if we can dock this to the right. Oh yeah, so this is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say run, build and deploy. It's going to ask me, okay, do you want to deploy it onto the Android phone or what do you want to do? Right, it's currently building. Let me show that. So if you see here, it is currently building the application package. And let's give it a couple of seconds because it takes time to build it. So what it does is it takes my source code, goes to our platform, builds the, something happened, it did not deploy. Okay, it is deploying. Now you should see on, so take a look at the phone now. You should see first start, application is being unpacked. We are at 42%, then it's going to the 100%, and now we have the same app that I developed here and then ran on a, what do you call the simulator is now on my Android device. So let me click on the dryer button. I'll click on the dryer button and there you go. So I got a dryer. I can click on the contacts and we got the contacts. I can click on Bob, I get the alert. I can click on Mary, I get the alert. I can click on John, I can get the alert. So this is fine. So this, now we have set up a baseline, right? We are now able to get this into a mobile phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about the how to. So this is completely using our HTML5 controls now. The dryer is fine, but there are certain things which you can actually make use of the native things. For example, let me show you this alert. So let me go to the contacts. I'm going to click on Bob. Take a look at what is happening. This alert is not actually the native OS alert that is coming. This is actually the JavaScript alert that is coming because we are running inside a container, and that container is nothing but a rendering engine, HTML rendering engine. So he understands that he has to bring up a pop-up. Here he understands that he has to bring up an alert. In fact, in the code, if I go and then show you the code, notice what we have used. We have used alert. So this is actually a JavaScript thingy. This is not a native OS thing. So so that is what we're going to start looking at, how to give native touches to small things like this. So let me do something here. I'm going to just replace this app.js, come back to home. And then rename this to notifications.html. The first thing that we're going to look at is notifications. By default, when you use our app builder and then you go to properties, let me maximize, and you look at our plugins, there is already a notification plugin that our IDE automatically puts up. These are the core Cordova plugins. And let me see, where is the notification plugin? Yeah, here. If you see here, this is a notification plugin. So this is the plugin.xml. If you see here, it has all the things that you need in order to package it inside your application. So by default, we automatically put the notification plugin. So don't confuse this with the notifications that you get from your applications. No, this is only, they've named it as notification, but this is to use for the alerts, the pop-ups, the confirm. So that is what this is all about. Okay, if you want to see the GitHub plugin for that, so here is the Cordova official site for the dialogues. So this is known as org.apache.cordova.dialog. So I think they renamed it. We still have carrying the notification name. So, but this is how you use it: navigator.notification.alert, a message, a callback, a title, and a button name. For example, you can say navigator.notification.alert. You are the winner. Alert dismissed, game over, done, kind of thing. And so this is what we'll see. So by default, it is already included in our App Builder IDE. If you are building hybrid apps on your own, that is without using the our App Builder, you will need to make sure that you include that particular plugin that I just showed you. Right. So now I'm going to create a new file called notifications.html. I'm going to say add new file, and this is an HTML file, and then I'll say notifications. Okay, and in order to speed up time and you don't have to see me typing everything, where did my other thing go? Okay, just give me a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop in certain HTML here. So I'm going to show what I'm writing here. So I'm going to put a bunch of buttons, and then one button showcases JavaScript message box, another button showcases native message box, another one showcases JavaScript prompt, another showcases native prompt, one showcases JavaScript confirm, another shows the native confirm box. And for this I need a couple of JavaScript. So what I will do is I will create a new script file, and I'm going to call it notifications.js, and instead of you seeing me typing, I'm going to just paste here a bunch of code. So let me explain you what I'm doing. So in the JavaScript alert, all I'm going to do is I'm going to say alert, and in the native alert I'm going to use navigator.notification.alert. Here is the the title, and then I want only OK button. Similarly, whenever I have to show native prompt, I'm going to say navigator.prompt, and then whenever I have to say native confirm, I will say native again prompt, and then yes or no, all those things. And let me save this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now build and then deploy this to my phone, right? So remember, I still have my phone connected. So here is my Android phone on the right hand side, and let's first see if this works in the simulator, or let's say we'll build and deploy. Okay, so let's get going fast. So it's now going to build and then automatically deploy it onto my phone. That's my Android phone. Let's give it a couple of minutes, and the build is succeeded, and then you notice that on my phone it's blank because the app has been removed, and it will now launch my new app. So it's now deploying on the device itself. Let's give it a couple of more minutes. Usually it depends on my bandwidth because I'm running GoToMeeting, and I have a bunch of things going on, so my bandwidth may be a little cramped. So there you go. Now it's deployed. It says first start, application is being unpacked, and there we go. What we see is we have message box, prompts, and confirm dialog. Now I'm going to start clicking on one by one, and then I'll explain you the subtle differences that you see. When I click on a JavaScript message box, you will see that it's going to bring up a JavaScript message box, and it's not running, not working. So let me see what happened. I know what mistake I did. So basically we created a notification.js. I've practiced this 100 times, but I make the same mistake. So the UI is ready, but the logic that handles it, we never put it into the build, right? So basically, if you see here, we have this notifications.js file. So I need to save it now, and then because of this mistake, we would have to run build and deploy again. So let's give it another minute or so to deploy. By that time, let me see if there is any questions. There is a question on Bootstrap and Kendo UI. We work very well with Bootstrap, so majority of the time people don't understand the difference between Kendo UI and then Bootstrap. So people think that Kendo UI is also a layouting system. No, Kendo UI, we made a very conscious decision that we don't want to reinvent the layout system. Bootstrap is already there, but all our Kendo UI controls are responsive out of the box. So you do not have to program separately to make them responsive. You can use Bootstrap, you can use Foundation for the layouting system, and you can start placing our controls, and then our controls will work responsively. does mobile application built with Kendo UI has accessibility support? I am not sure I understand that completely. If you can elaborate it, we can maybe take a look at that or check with our teams, how we handle these things. So I'm assuming when you say accessibility, a screen reader kind of stuff, I'm not sure. So if you can just elaborate it. Yes, so there's one more question. Is it possible to have different UIs for Android and iOS? Absolutely. I have gone with a theme called Flat because I don't care whether it's iOS or Android. I want it to look like this. So that's my USP. Typically you will see that majority of the apps will look the same on different platforms. That's because they consciously make it to look like that. Otherwise, you will have to comment out this line that I showcased to you. Here, it says skin flat. So comment this out. Then Kendo will automatically take the current operating systems UI and UX, themes, colors, and all those things. So now let me click on this, and here is the alert. So what you're seeing is actually, if you notice, the alert, as you know, in JavaScript does not allow you to put a title to it, and it will always show this word called alert. So people looking at, or if you're building an app for, let's say, an Android guy or let's say an iOS guy, the user may already be knowing what the native dialogues look like, right? So this is going to be very eye-striking for him. So like, why is it saying alert, right? Whereas he should have got a title bar and then everything. So let's see. I'm going to do, oh, it went somewhere else. Sorry about that. So now I'm going to do a native message box. And there you go. So what I did was in the native message box, I said native touches app, and this is native alert, and then I said okay. So this is the native touch that we are talking about. You do not have to always use alert. Go with the native navigation alert, that is notification alert that is there. And similarly, if I click on this native prompt, the same thing. You get a title bar, and then you can do this. You can have the people typing in, and then you can say okay, and then you can handle whatever data that was clicked. So if you look at my notification.js and then look at prompt, we have this callback here. So this result is nothing but this will actually give me what the user has typed in the text box, right? And I have said okay, cancel, all those things. So if I say native prompt again, it says please enter your name, and notice I have okay, cancel, it has cancel okay. So that's how they show it. And I have the title bar which says native touches app. So I'll say cancel. And similarly with native confirm. So confirm is like, yes, no kind of stuff. So are you sure you want to delete? I will say yes, maybe, no. Like that. So this is one way of, so this is the first native touch that we saw today. And I'm going to now start working on the next one, and that is known as action sheet. How do I show you an action sheet? Let's see if I have a mail here. Should I open mail, or I don't know. Okay. Okay, let's go here. And I will open this. So I have set up all the alerts for Google Kendo UI, so it's coming here. So what I will do is I will say, okay, I'm not getting where exactly you will get the, this is kind of an action sheet. What you're seeing is move to, change labels, mark important, mute, report spam, all those things. So let me show you one demo here of what exactly I mean by, let me go here, let me go here, and let me bring up the action sheet. And I'm going to bring it to iOS 7, and you will get an idea. Those of you who are using iOS, if I click on reply, notice this, what is happening in the bottom? Reply all, archive, cancel. So this is known as an action sheet. So if I go to Android, this is how Android gives you the action sheet. So, but with Kendo UI, what is happening is Kendo UI is doing this action sheet with HTML, JavaScript, CSS. So it is styling a particular element, it's making a modal view, and then you can click on that and I'll do all those things. But what we are saying, what I'm trying to say is, you don't need to always go with our controls for some of the things. So action sheet, there's already a plugin available. So let me get that plugin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and right click on my project and I will say manage packages. So this is one of the good things that we have in our IDE. You don't have to leave the IDE to import any what do you call the plugin. So if you see here, the first plugin that I have here is action sheet. So I'm going to say install. That's all I have to do, and that's it. Now I have installed this action sheet plugin. So this action sheet plugin is the native plugin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this notifications.html and then I'm going to do renaming this and I'll say action sheet.html. And I'm going to go to index.html and instead of settings.html it will be action sheet.html, and I'm going to go to notification.js, copy that and replace this guy. So I'm just doing this so that we can speed up things. So in the action sheet.html, sorry, the JavaScript file, I'm going to go paste some code. I'll explain you what I'm doing here. So if you notice here, since I added this native action sheet plugin, I can access that native action sheet plugin using this syntax: window.plugins.actionsheet.show. What are the buttons I need in the action sheet? So I need delete it, email it, tweet it. So that's the action sheet. That's the action that I need, or the buttons that I need on the action sheet. And then what is the title of the action sheet? It is what would you like to do with this image, right? And then of course you will get the callback with what the button index the user clicked, and then you can you can pretty much take whatever logic that you want to write and then take action against that. So that is all we have. And I'm going to go to index.html again. And remember, we added a new JavaScript file, so we need to just dump the JavaScript file here. Action sheet, and I need the UI for action sheet. So where is my action sheet? It's here. I'm going to just remove all this and paste. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to showcase how our Kendo UI action sheet looks like, and then how the native action sheet looks like. Okay, so let me just alter this. Okay, so now let me build this and deploy. Let me make sure everything is in place. Go to index.html. I have action sheet.js. I have renamed this action sheet, and then there you go, I made a mistake. So this is action sheet, and I have the action sheet.js file, and I also have the action sheet.html. Everything good. So let's run it or build and deploy onto the phone itself. By the time I'm going to pick up a couple of questions. Some of you are saying didn't understand the difference between JS and native alert. So basically, a JavaScript alert will never allow you to change the title bar of your alert. It will always say alert. The word will be alert, and it's not good. Anybody who has done web programming will automatically figure out like, oh, this is a JavaScript alert. So the whole purpose of you creating a mobile application is to provide the native the kind of a native comfortness for the user who's using your application. Why would you let him know that this is not a native app? Rather, let him feel like, oh, this is working well. So that is why we provide all this small goodness. That is, instead of using the JavaScript alert, make use of the native OS alert that is already there. So that is a simple concept. So now what I'm doing is we have now deployed the application, and the home page has come up, but remember we have to go to the action sheet. So I'm going to click on the dryer. So I got the dryer. I'm going to click on action sheet, and okay, don't worry about the styling. I'm not a good, I don't want to prove a point. Let's not get over the UI. So what I have is Kendo UI mobile controls have this control called action sheet. So if I click on the first button, notice what is happening. So this is the action sheet that we provide to you as part of the Kendo UI control set. But this is not native. This is actually Kendo UI bringing up HTML, styling that to look like this, right? But the OS an action sheet is completely different. And let me click on the native action sheet. And not sure what happened. Okay, there you go. So now it came. So this is the native Android action sheet. So there is nothing HTML, JavaScript, CSS here. So what we are doing is from our application, we are hooking on to the OS and saying like, hey, OS, I want you to show your action sheet. Here is the title, and then your action sheet should contain 3 buttons. And the button labels are delete it, email it, tweet it. Right? This is more native than getting this Kendo UI style sheet. Correct? So this is Kendo UI style sheet. So if you use Kendo UI style sheet, action sheet and build your app and then give it to an Android user, and he knows that he's going to get an action sheet, he's going to be little surprised as to why is the action sheet coming up like this. Instead, it should have been, just give me a second, looks like there's a lag. And I will have to kill my app. I don't know what's happening with my Android. So let's and now I need to figure out where my app is. So let me go back to the app. It's we named it as Native Touch Hybrid App. Yeah, so here it is. And let me go to action sheet and click on native action sheet, and there you go. So this is the native dialog coming up, native action sheet coming up, right? So that's another action native touch you can give to your hybrid app. So now let me quickly move on. So it's already 4 o'clock. I still need to cover one more or 2 more. We'll see. So I'm going to close all these guys. So now I'm going to talk about a native touch, which is I don't think I never moved my. So what's exactly a Cordova plugin, right? So I never moved into the slide, so let me quickly cover it. So Cordova plugins are nothing but bridge between your HTML and native layer. You will invoke the native things using these plugins. The native behaviors and controls can be used in the hybrid app. So that's what this Cordova plugins provide you. So the plugins we are seeing today is notification, action sheets, social sharing, and then toast. So let me come back to social sharing now. Again, I'm going to go to my project, right-click, manage packages, plugin marketplace, and I'm going to say search for social sharing, and I'm going to say install, and that's it. And now I have the social sharing plugin available. I'm going to copy the action sheet.html, rename to social share.html, and I'm going to copy the action sheet here and rename this to social share.js, and just give me a second. I would have to rename a lot of stuff now, so I'll say this is social share, and instead of action sheet, this is, I'm going to return back social share. Now one another interesting thing that I want to point out is when I was doing this, right, I mean I did not show you where the plugins are, the plugin source code is and all those things. So let me go back to properties, and I'm going to plugins, and if I scroll all the way down, here we have this other plugins, and then there you see here, like it says social sharing. So these are the plugins that I have enabled in my application, and here is social sharing. And look at this, we have a link to documentation right from here. All I need to do is click on this, and I will know how to use this. So let's do that. So I'm going to click on open. So now my Internet Explorer is opening up, and then this is the source code for social sharing, and it gives you all the things, like what are the things you can do, all those stuff. So what I'm going to do is, and here is the usage. Yeah, you can see the extent to which you can use this plugin. You can just say share message and subject, share link only, and then a message and link, blah blah blah. And then I also have this share directly to Twitter, share directly to Facebook. You know, a lot of things are available with this particular thing. Otherwise, imagine if you have to build all this stuff, it is not easy. So this plugin, let's try to use it now. So what it says is, all I need to do is, I can have a button and then I can just do a share. So instead of that, what I'm going to do is, I've already created social share. So let me look at what they're saying. They're saying you can do this, or let me, yeah, so you can do this. So I'm going to come in here, remove all these guys, and then say window.plugins.socialsharing.share, and here is the message, right? I will say hello world from native or from hybrid app. I want to share this message, that's what it is. And then also I will put one more. I will say tweet show, and remember here there was this share via Twitter, right? I can call this guy and I will say hello world from hybrid mobile app native share native social share plugin, right? I'm going to have these two things, and I will have to say tweet show colon tweet show. Now coming back to my HTML, I will have to say, instead of all these things, I just have to place two buttons, and one is share message, and another one is share via Twitter, right? Then this is tweet show, and we need to go to index.html, and here instead of contacts.html I will say social share, and I will say social share. Come back here, this is not action sheet demo, rather this is social share demo, and I will save everything, and I will build and deploy. Okay, let me quickly see. Can Kendo app be used as a web app hosted on iOS? Yes, yes and no. Basically, whatever you're doing, so for example, if you're done heavy this plugin thing, the plugin will never work in a web world. This plugin works only on a device. That's the beauty of this plugins, right? You know, these plugins are there in order to give you the bridge between your HTML and your native capabilities. And if you put this on a web app or in a web server, well, whenever there is certain code like that, you will start seeing a JavaScript error saying like, hey, there's no object called plugins on the window object, and then what is this plugins, right? So those kind of things. But if you have used just the Kendo controls, Kendo things without any plugins, yes, you can take the code as is and then put it on a web server, and then you can serve that as a web app also. Good question on the accessibility, so we'll come back to that. Oh, I need to click on run, sorry about that. So it's going to do that now. Let me take a look at any questions. Is it possible to have different UIs for Android and iOS? Yeah, so if you remove that flat, it's going to do that. So accessibility, I will have to check. Yeah, that's all we have as of now. So let's wait for this build to done, and then I know we have ran over the stipulated time. We're 8 minutes overboard, so I'll try to stop it here. So I'll let you know what are the other native plugins are available, and then you can pretty much play around with that. So there is also a question is, how is the performance on the low-end devices? If you consider Huawei U9200 running 4.0.3 Android version as a low-end phone, you are seeing what is happening. Don't worry about the lag that you are seeing when I click and do it. What is happening is I'm actually doing a projection of my Android phone over internet to this particular browser. If you see there, I'm actually at mobizen.com. So from my phone, I have a Mobizen app. That Mobizen app is actually transmitting my screenshots over Wi-Fi to the internet to mobizen.com, and then there I have an I'm able to show the screenshot. So you are seeing a lag due majorly because of all this environment setup. There's GoToMeeting, which is kind of streaming, and then my Wi-Fi sharing, the screens being shared over the Wi-Fi. So that's why you're seeing a lag. But on my phone, I'm not seeing any difference. So let me come back to social share now. I'll click on social share, and as I said, there are only two buttons that I added. I said share message, and I said share via Twitter. So I will say share message. What did I do? I think I know what I did. Just give me a second. Here, instead of changing my object, it is using the old object. Now we need to build it again. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, performance, I'm not seeing anything big difference. It feels as if like any other application on the phone. So yeah, that's how it is. Let's give it a minute to build this and then come up. Instead of using the other object, I've used the action sheet object, so that's why when I click on the button, it's still showing me the action sheet. So now we should see, like, so typically all the what do you call operating system have this concept of share. I can actually, so Windows Phone has its own share charm, Android has its own share dialog, iOS has its own share dialog. So I don't want to build my own. So I want to make use of whatever operating system provides me. So there we go. So we got the app coming in. So I'm going to say social share, and I'll click on share message. And it takes a while for the first time to come up. Let me see if I've written the code correct. So window.plugins.social-sharing.share. I did the same mistake again, I think. Geez. Yeah, so I did not put that particular JS file, which is actually backing up that particular. So we just put the HTML. So what happens is there's nobody handling the click. Sorry about that. Is the source code modifiable from the package? Well, of course, even if you have an APK file which you are doing a native way, anybody can take an APK and then reverse engineer that. It's not a foolproof thing. You take an APK, you rename it to .zip, and then if you extract the content of the zip, you will pretty much get everything, and then you can do the whole stuff. So similarly here, if you have your APK, so what happens is the APK will have a www folder, and then inside the www folder, all your JavaScripts, all your HTML files are kept. It's not a new question. We have been asking this from quite some time. Like, whenever, whether it's a native or a hybrid, this question keeps coming up. But you got to understand one thing. There's no foolproof thing to actually say like, hey, nobody can crack it. I know I think there are certain companies which actually provide you a wrapper around your APK, I believe, which is like a security layer or something like that. I'm not by the way, a very well-versed Android guy or an iOS guy. I know for sure in Windows Phone, what we do with Windows Phone is we actually sign the ZAP file. So it's actually is having a strong named key, and that's how security is handled there. And now let's see. And I click on social share. And there we go. This, whatever you're seeing on the front, is actually the operating system's native share whatever dialogue they call it. It says select an action. I have actually given a message called hello world from hybrid mobile app. So where should I go for this? Let's say I'm going to go to messaging, and notice what you have at the bottom. At the bottom it says hello world from hybrid mobile app, and it is asking me, hey, put a name and you can share it. So let me go ahead and then say cancel this, click on share message again, and I can say add to Delicious. So those of you who don't know Delicious, it's a pretty interesting application. You can bookmark all your links, and then you can go back and then see the link. So if you see here, it is actually going into the Delicious app, and then it's going to take my string, whatever I have. Let's not spend time here, so let me come back. I can click on share message again, and I can say share this on maybe Google+. I don't know if I've set it up here, but I don't normally use it. Yeah, okay, I haven't set it up, so let's not go back there. As you can see, it says add an account, and well, you get the idea. So I can go to Gmail. Now what it's going to do is it's going to bring up my compose window. As you can see here, the subject, I have not provided a subject, but there is an option that the social share plugin takes a subject, and here is my text that I had done, hello world from hybrid mobile app, right? So now let's go back and then check out this share via Twitter. So let's say you just want to place 2 buttons on your pages which says share to Facebook or share to Twitter or something like that. So if I click on share via Twitter, notice what happened. I don't get the default what do you call the plugin window, or the share window, social share window. Rather, it directly goes to Twitter, and then I already set up Twitter account here. So this is what you want the experience to be. You don't want something in your application to look different. Rather, give him the whatever native feel that he has. So now I'm going to tweet this, and then if you are on Twitter and you follow me on Twitter and go check out my this, you will see that this will be posted. So let me make sure everything is correct. Hello world from hybrid mobile app, native social share plugin demo. Right? I'm going to say tweet it, and there you go. It is sending the tweet. Correct? So I hope you get the point. These are hang on. So these are some of the little touches that you can provide to your mobile application. Just because it is hybrid doesn't mean that you cannot use the full capability of your devices. You can always do it. So we ran out of time for showing a toast. So toast is another interesting thing that you can actually take a look at it. So let me show you where you can actually figure out, you can find more of these native touches. You can always go to Cordova's plugin directory. I think it's plugins.cordova.io, and then we here at Telric, what we have done is our team actually verifies some of the plugins that are there in the Cordova's plugin repository, and we certify saying like, this is a good plugin, you can use it in your production apps and all those things. So if I come in here and then search for native, you get a lot of search results here. So there are 16. So action sheet, we saw that. There is augmented reality, Wikitude SDK plugin. There you go. So if somebody has installed augmented Wikitude, you can actually invoke that from your hybrid app. Here is a Dropbox plugin for your Dropbox. So let's say from your application you want to open up Dropbox, so you can do that. Then email composer, keyboard, native page transition. So whatever page transitions that we saw, the application is currently doing, so far we have been doing, it is actually using CSS transitions. It's not the hardware transitions. So you can actually pretty much take a look at this. Social sharing, we saw Spinner. Toast is what I wanted to try out, but we ran out of time. And there is Couchbase Lite, custom URL schemes that you can handle, document handler, secure HTTP, SQLite, and then of course the WK WebView. This is the new WebView, the component that's there in iOS and all those things. So that's it about for this particular demo or webinar. Thank you very much for spending time with us. I hope this 1 hour was kind of worth for your time, and thank you very much. Come back again next week. Keep track of all our schedules at www.telrichelper.net.